Today, I want to talk about whether we're finally squeezing or if this is just another run-up that will be illegally pushed back down. I want to look at the threshold securities list, the wider market, recent hedge fund liquidations and other data available to determine whether the squeeze is actually starting. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And now I want to dive straight in with the key information. So, Tendy Baron is tweeted saying Bed Bath & Beyond is back on the regulation SHO threshold securities list. Could this be the entire meme stock basket squeeze? Round 2. So if we look at the screenshot, this is the threshold securities list back from Tuesday, January the 10th, a few days ago. Bed Bath & Beyond first appeared on the regulation SHO list on this day. But that means that actually many shares of Bed Bath & Beyond failed to deliver over the last week. That's going to make it significantly more difficult for these hedge funds to locate real shares to push the price back down. Now, if we get an update as of today, we can see that Bed Bath & Beyond is still on that regulation SHO threshold securities list. However, many other meme stocks like AMC, GameStop and all of the others still aren't on the regulation SHO list. That means that at least as of today, these hedge funds are still not failing to deliver on significant quantities of AMC and GameStop shares. However, it could be argued that over the last few days, Bed Bath & Beyond has run up significantly more than AMC. Therefore, the hedge funds are obviously struggling with Bed Bath & Beyond, but maybe right now not as much on AMC and GameStop. However, it could also be argued that if the hedge funds are struggling so much with Bed Bath & Beyond, especially over the next few days, it could mean these hedge funds also start struggling with their overall margin requirements, causing them to struggle with AMC and GameStop as well. If these hedge funds can't push the price down on BBBY, these hedge funds may start to waver and may end up failing their margin requirements, potentially being liquidated, forcing them to close out of their AMC and GameStop short positions. We also saw this article saying that Bed Bath & Beyond quadruples as retail traders fuel the latest burst. It says that shares have soared for the 4th day in a row amid renewed retail trader interest, and this rally could spur a massive short squeeze, S3 Partners says. It says Bed Bath & Beyond continued to surge on Thursday, rising for a 4th day and closing at the highest level since late October, after the company's bankruptcy warnings reignited interest from retail traders. It says shares in the home goods retailer climbed 50%, adding to 166% gains from the previous 3 sessions. Other so-called meme stocks also added gains on Thursday after jumping on Wednesday. Carvana rallied 46% in the biggest advance on record, while meme stock poster children AMC and GameStop saw more modest gains. So far, it seems like AMC and GameStop are seeing more modest gains. However, if Bed Bath & Beyond continues running, it could actually spark and trigger a short squeeze in AMC, GameStop, and all of the other meme stocks as well. And it says with the Bed Bath & Beyond short interest rising to about 53% of the float from 47% 1 month ago, according to data from S3 Partners, there could be a further squeeze on the horizon. It says if bankruptcy is not in Bed Bath & Beyond's future, its rallying stock price will force a massive short squeeze and short sellers will rush to the doors and buy to cover in order to retain some of the mark-to-market profits they earned in 2022. Basically, if Bed Bath & Beyond continues running, many of these short hedge funds will rush to the exit doors, continuing to push the price up even higher, potentially sparking a rally and potentially the squeeze in AMC and GameStop as well. Just a quick one, guys, be sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like down below and ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. However, I do also want to say that the market right now doesn't specifically feel like it's in squeeze territory. As the Cabesi letter tweeted, he said the VIX is now down 45% from its highs in September, and the VIX is suggesting the market is currently in a massive bull run. The VIX hasn't actually been this low since we saw all-time highs back in December of 2021. But obviously on the flip side, the S&P 500 is only up 7% over the same time period, suggesting that so far we are still in massive bear territory. But again, even though we're in this bear territory, we're not quite low enough to cause many hedge funds to actually be liquidated. If we do a quick search, we can see that no hedge funds have been liquidated over the last few days because the S&P 500 hasn't yet set new lows. And obviously at the same time, while Bed Bath & Beyond is running, Bed Bath & Beyond hasn't yet squeezed to new highs, also not forcing any hedge funds to be liquidated. He said this is one of the only bear markets where the VIX has traded like we're in a bull market the entire time. However, one could also argue the VIX has been broken by the 0 days to expire options and really isn't the best indicator anymore for fear. But even though Bed Bath & Beyond and many other highly shorted stocks are running, it doesn't quite feel like squeeze territory. The S&P 500 hasn't hit new lows and we're not seeing hedge funds being liquidated. However, it could also be suggested that new lows are very fast approaching. Watcher Guru's tweeted saying just in, US banks are preparing for a recession. If many of these banks are actually preparing for a recession, it could actually suggest that a squeeze is indeed on the horizon. Even though the wider market doesn't feel like it's in squeeze territory, I may be completely wrong and Bed Bath & Beyond may continue running and it may force and may trigger the squeeze in AMC and GameStop. US banks have just projected lower profits amidst the potential recession. Obviously, earnings for many of these major banks are being announced today after the close, and many of these banks are projecting lower profits. Obviously, if lower profits are actually announced, I would expect the market to continue falling next week off the back of bad earnings results. It says Reuters has reported that some of the largest US banks are projecting lowered profits as they prepare for a potential recession. The report notes that some of the largest banking institutions in the country are set to report lowered Q4 earnings in accordance with market conditions. Those 4 American banks in question are JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citigroup and Wells Fargo. They're all set to report earnings at the end of the week today after the market close. Now they could actually use this as a trigger to try and push these meme stocks and heavily shorted stocks back down. If banks announce bad earnings and the entire market falls next week, it would drag down those highly shorted stocks again. Obviously, the specific thing that's going to cause these stocks to fall is the illegal synthetic shorting and short laddering, but they could blag it off as bad earnings announced by these major banks. However, something I do believe is going to add to the squeeze thesis going forward is the massive rallying behind AMC from giant celebrities. James Cameron has recently praised Avatar 2, which is nearing $2 billion at the box office. He said, "Enough with streaming already, I'm tired of sitting on my arse." And as Crystal tweeted, he said, "Well said, James Cameron. People want to go out and see movies on the big screen with big sound and snacks in groups." He said the resurgence of movie theatres after the closures ended has been a powerful thing. "I never doubted for a second that it would happen." And you may have also seen Tom Cruise recently tweeted saying 36 years after the first film, Top Gun Maverick is finally here. "We made it for the big screen and we made it for you, the fans." Dwayne Johnson also tweeted saying, "Thank you everyone. Black Adam is the #1 movie in the world for the second weekend in a row." He said it's strong numbers considering Teth Adam was a little known DC character as well as the Justice Society. All 5 superheroes never existed on the big screen until now. Many of these large stars are suggesting to see their films on the big screen, which is very interesting because Dwayne Johnson also has a contract with Netflix and other streaming services. Dwayne Johnson actually likely gets paid more from Netflix than he does from making films for the big screen, but he knows that AMC is a successful company. Many of these movie stars are rallying behind AMC and actually trying to put an end to streaming services like Netflix and like Amazon. They're saying enough of streaming already. Stop sitting on your ass and go and see the films as they were designed to be made on the big screen at AMC theatres. It seems many of these movie stars actually want Wall Street to fail, they want Wall Street to be squeezed, and they want AMC to succeed. And now I also wanted to talk about a very interesting find from Darren Harper. He's tweeted saying UBS has been misreporting options and shorts for 11 years. He said he wonders if any other funds or hedge funds or market makers have been doing the same thing. Now this is really interesting because I don't think I've ever seen a hedge fund being fined before for misreporting options and shorts and likely swaps as well. It says Finra requires member firms to report large options positions to the LOPR. Finra uses LOPR information to surveil for potentially manipulative behaviour, including attempts to corner the market in the underlying equity, leverage an option position to affect the price, or move the underlying equity to change the value of a large option position. Supposedly Finra is actually watching hedge funds taking up large option positions to see if they manipulate the underlying stock price to improve their profits. They even note that excessively large options positions may disrupt the marketplace by allowing the holder to influence the price of the option or the underlying security. And they've said that from January 2010 through to September 2021, aka after January 2021 and June of 2021, UBS failed to report OTC options positions to the LOPR in approximately 436,000 instances. And they also inaccurately reported information to the LOPR in more than 6.6 million instances. And very importantly, it says UBS reported inaccurate short covered quantities to the LOPR in millions of instances. During this time, UBS could not systemically determine the short covered quantity of OTC options positions and instead chose to program its system to report a default quantity to the LOPR. As a result, UBS reported a default covered quantity equal to the short quantity, misreporting most short positions as fully covered. Now, this is obviously why many data providers believe that shorts fully covered their short positions back in January of 2021 and in June of 2021 as well. That is obviously not the case, as these hedge funds were misreporting their data, saying they'd fully closed out of their short positions, when in fact they hadn't. Now, it's actually very interesting. This was reported by Finra and a fine was actually generated. Hopefully Finra will continue reviewing these kind of malfunctions and these kind of illegal crimes, and hopefully more and more hedge funds will be charged. Hopefully it sets a precedent and determines that Finra and the SEC need to review short covering more in depth and determine that more hedge funds have not actually closed out of their short positions. And also determine that more hedge funds have been manipulating options prices or manipulating the underlying stock to manipulate options prices. Again, hopefully in the future we'll see more than a small fine, but obviously with Finra and the SEC, which are two fairly useless organisations, I do kind of highly doubt it. But what I'm not highly doubting is that Bed Bath & Beyond is still on the regulation SHO threshold securities list, it's still running up, and it could still trigger the AMC and Gamestop squeeze. But guys, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always guys, be sure to ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.